Yep, I got, we got our signs. Guys, welcome back to Anime FMK pre-show My Hero Academia special times with us. It's a long title, but you know, I think
we gotta have it.
we gotta have it. I gotta have it. I'm Ben. I'm your host. Who else we got here?
I'm Kaiser. I'm your co-host.
I'm Grant. I'm the co-host.
You're a special guest host, which
Fine.
you'll be here for the rest of the season. So
Yeah,
Yep,
I
and-
feel like I'm not a guest at that point if I'm gonna be at every iteration of this.
Yep.
I'm a TFS bento guest perhaps. But
True. So I've got to have it. Grant's got to have it. Scott only has to have it because I make him, obviously.
yeah, thanks, Scott.
Left to his own devices, Scott would not have it.
look, I've read the manga, so I know the story.
La-di-da.
So I'm not all that like, yeah, I gotta see this episode. I gotta see this episode like I would be otherwise.
Guys, let's talk about this episode. This is episode 40.
Yeah.
Depending on if you count recap episodes. But it's listed as episode 40 on Crunchyroll, so that's what I'm going to call it.
Hey, sounds real to me.
In episode 40 of My Hero Academia, Class A is introduced to a couple of Ginyu Force posing ass cat girls who run the summer training camp. They have to fight, Class A. That was vague. Class A has to fight through a forest of animated dirt-clawed beasts to try to get to camp in time for lunch. That night, Mineta goes full Hot Springs episode. We also meet Small Boy, the cat girl's nephew who hates heroes because his parents were heroes who were killed in the line of duty. Also, I guess the villains are hanging around their villain bar making vaguely menacing statements at each other.
I love the villain bar. It's such a great place. I want to go get a drink there and just listen to people be angry at heroes.
I would like to go get a drink there. I don't really like watching it because they're always talking vagueness at each other. It never advances the plot or characters.
Well, it advances a little bit in terms of you get an idea of where they're going, and it's supposed to give you an idea of what their motivation is, and you get more of that with Shigaraki as time goes on. But yeah, the first couple of seasons have just been a lot of like, are we ready to move in on our plan? Let's do it. Are
Not
you sure
yet.
about this plan?
I'm building it.
Oh yeah. It's a lot of that stuff.
And man, I really hate All Might.
Should we do the thing? I don't know if we're ready to do the thing.
Yeah.
I would like to do another thing. Get him! He wants to do another thing!
Yeah. The only time it was really beneficial is when we saw what Stain had done when they're sitting there like, yeah, by the way, Stain just opened this stuff up with this one YouTube video, which I really like that as a piece of social commentary. But yeah, here we're just back to classic. Yep, there's Shigaraki sitting there being creepy and evil. So.
And then what's his name? Black Void, Black Cape, whatever the
Black Void.
Black Void.
Daddy Butler,
Yeah,
Void
yeah.
Man, yeah.
Just Mr. Polite, always like, really, come on, Shigaraki, can we at least be adults? No, I'm an angry boy.
And that's why I love those scenes, because it reminds you that Shigaraki is a child, and I love that. I love that this big menacing villain is actually just a child who's obsessed with RPGs.
I'm just gonna build this house of cards as a tenuous metaphor for the very universe we live in. We could, I don't know, be doing things.
But that's that. We cut back to them a couple times.
Yeah.
But the A plot is everybody get on this bus. Let's go to summer camp.
Yeah.
Including, there's two buses, a bus for Class A and Class B, and Class B gets to live up their bit of like, hey, we're here, bye.
Yeah. One of my favorite bits about Class B is that there's the one main guy who's always trying to start shit. He wants to be that character, and nobody's letting him. He tries so hard, and I love the mangaka going in there and subverting expectations and making a joke out of tropes like that. Because
Class
then
A,
he has
I think-
Mineta, who is basically just the perverted trope.
Yes.
I did like that it is also dropped on us that the teachers, they're trying to get these kids their provisional hero licenses. So that if shit like what happened with Stain goes down, they don't get in trouble for defending themselves.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
Yeah. It's sort of interesting because they're basically having to fast track these kids with everything that's going on. It's kind of interesting because I'd love to see what would have been like maybe a side story like an OVA about a normal school year
Yeah,
for
the
these
normal
kids.
hero track.
I'd love to see what happens when shit's not going down. But yeah, it does make the story far more interesting that like, yeah, no, this isn't how this is supposed to go. So not only are you going to a camp, we're changing the location, we're changing the information, we're doing all of this differently. And yeah, so we're also introduced to the Wild Wild Pussycats.
Yep.
And by the way, funny thing about Pixie Bob, her name is actually based off of the nickname for a real life cat, which is a wildcat, basically akin to the bobcat, except it looks like a regular domestic kitten perpetually. It just looks like a kitten. It's amazing.
It's the Moe Dream Girl of cats.
Exactly. It is exactly that.
She's
I may
also
look
rather
like
manic.
Yes.
I may look like a kitten, but I'm actually 100 years old.
Well, they do talk about the fact that, he's like, they've been doing this for 18 years, which, was it 12 years?
12 years,
Yeah,
I
they've
think.
been doing this for 12 years. So if they started at the earliest of 18, that makes them like 30. And they're
One
like,
girl's
don't,
real mad about
yeah,
that.
do not
I'm
say
18 at
that.
heart.
But yeah.
But I don't know. These characters are all right. I feel like they are about the third or fourth group of teachers or teachers who show up and are like, "Hey, I'm wacky, I'm crazy." I don't know. Felt a little redundant.
Yeah, I mean they're fun, they're cute, but they serve a purpose of introducing conflict for our heroes, and they're at the worst they're unoffensive.
Yeah.
I also like their designs; they're really cute.
What I did like was, and as I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong, this scene was filler for the anime when they go in the forest and they fight all the beasts and shit.
I don't believe that. I could be completely wrong. I don't think that was filler.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, they do actually have a fight in the forest, at least with one monster.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure because that whole thing with them getting in there late is still in the manga. I think they brought it out a bit because
extended it?
Yeah, I think they added a lot. So you had a good point about this because episode 39 was a reintroduction to all of the characters. What does this episode do very specifically?
Yeah, the logic I kept being told was like, well, that first episode exists to kind of onboard people. It shows them who these characters are and what they can do. And I'm like, all right, I didn't like it, but I can understand that logic, I guess. One of the first scenes in this episode is, hey, let's call everybody by name and show them using their sick-ass powers and working as a team.
Yep.
So not only are we seeing what they can do and what their names are, we also get a glimpse into their relationships with each other because we see, like, certain characters interacting positively. We see Bakugo called Todoroki a half-and-half idiot or something.
Yep.
Like, we pick up on not only what they can do, but who they are. And like, it is a way more effective introduction. And also, if I was someone who was new, I would be super into this much more than let me read you a list of names and characters.
Yeah, absolutely. Not to mention the animation, the art for that
Yeah,
segment.
it looked amazing.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It looks so good.
Yep. So speaking of Pixie Bob, apparently she's a little bit of a pedo. She
Just
likes
a
them
bit.
young.
You know what? I would be more offended if it weren't refreshing to see an older woman be like, I'll see you in 3 years.
I mean, at least she is throwing the in 3 years. Like,
Look, to be completely honest with you, with the way that the mangaka draws the characters, they are handsome, they are attractive. They're supposed to be like, girls who watch the show are going to be like, oh, Todoroki's so dreamy.
They're such pretty handsome men.
And as we see, one of the women there is like, they're going to be amazing when they're 18. And yeah, it's kind of fun. It's fun to see that changed up a little bit, and not in a way where she's probably going to peek on them when they're changing. It's way less creepy.
Speaking of, zoom forward to a bathhouse scene.
Yep.
And we get the tried and true anime classic, boys in one pool, girls in another, and at least somebody, who's it gonna be, has to try and climb that wall.
So I'm sure that this is a trope that is repeated many, many times in anime history.
Oh, yeah.
The
Nice catch. Oh, and you almost
Dude.
did it again.
I'm just trying to stretch.
But yes.
Go on.
the point of comparison that I immediately made was Gurren Lagann, because that's
Okay.
the show that I've seen that did a nearly identical scene
Yes.
with a few key differences. So we talked a little last week. Why does everybody hate Mineta so much?
Yeah.
Not so much why does everybody hate him. I know why everybody hates him.
Yeah,
He's a little creeper. He's a little pervy boy.
Pretty fairly obvious.
He does not respect the personal boundaries of these female characters that we are supposed to like and relate to. Although they never seem to be mad about it. They never even seem to notice his attentions.
They seem fairly indifferent to just give him a quick clobber and let it go. I feel like very rarely have we seen the girls actually be like, he is doing something wrong, like, and saying that to each other. It is usually just, slap on the head, you dummy.
As opposed to, let's take a trip to the principal's office and have some sensitivity training and, deal with this issue.
But that's not fun, Ben.
No, it's not. I'm not saying that I actually want that. I'm just establishing this is the moral universe in which this show lives.
Yes.
So I'm less perplexed with why do people hate Mineta. I get it. What I am perplexed by is why do people hate Mineta with a fervor that I have not seen with any other character that acts in largely the same way. And we came up with some ideas. We brainstormed some. Is it because, like in the case of Kamina, he has a whole character outside of that. Mineta does not.
Yeah, this is all he does.
Yeah.
This is basically his defining character trait.
This is a good point as any to bring up something that I've said about Mineta in the past, because Mineta as a character is kind of perplexing for a lot of reasons. His power is he barely made it into the hero program. In fact, the mangaka had to come out and give you the explanation for exactly how that happened in one of the side chat, an explanational note in one of the mangas, like, hey, so this is how Mineta made it in, supplementary material. And yeah, he's kind of this one-note pervert character. And the interesting thing is, if you'll notice, no other character, with the exception for maybe a one-off, like, again, with our somewhat creepy Pixie Bob girl, where she at least says, in a couple of years, no other character acts like Mineta does, ever.
The Electric Kid kind of did in that first episode, but I feel like that was a genuine high school boy thing of like, let's see if we can convince the girls to go to a pool party. Like,
yeah.
That's something dudes do. That happens. That's not wildly out of...
Yeah, he's not trying to peep on them in the locker rooms. He is trying to get them to consensually come to the pool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he can ogle them, but let's be honest, teenage boys, they like to ogle girls. We accept that. We try to teach them respect about it, but you can't stop a teenage boy from wanting to look at girls.
Yeah.
That's how they're wired.
Yeah. But Mineta, he is shameless about it.
Yes. Not only is he shameless, but he's creepy, like full on, like the kind of stuff that he does is basically illegal half the time.
Yeah.
So, but the reason that I'm not bothered by Mineta, the reason that I actually appreciate the existence of Mineta, is that in shonen material, you very often find these characters, and they often both get away with a little bit of their perviness, and their punishment is usually more hilarious than it is, actually, what do you call it, retribution? It's with Mineta, he never gets what he wants, ever. And it's always swift and severe punishment for when he tries. When he tries to peep on the girls in the locker room, he gets a plug in the eye.
Yep.
When he tries to get over the hot spring, he's denied by the kid and sent flying down. Yep. Every time he tries to do this, even the one time he gets a touch in on Sue, he holds him under the water till the bubbles stop.
Right. So that's why you're not bothered by Mineta, and I get that. But I'm still trying to wrap my head around why do people hate him so much in a way that other characters just don't get. And I'm comparing and contrasting this scene with the similar scene in Gurren Lagann. What are the differences? Kamina is conventionally attractive. You said, I think Mineta is so small and weird to make him less threatening. I don't think that's the case.
Think it's to make him less likable and be more easy of a target?
I think it is. I think people hate Mineta because he is sexually repulsive. and being sexually aggressive. Kamina is sexually appealing and sexually aggressive, and people forgive him. And the punchline to the Kamina episode is not Kamina gets his comeuppance. The punchline is Yoko, the object of his infatuation, or one of them anyway, saying to him, if you wanted to see my tits so bad, you could have just asked. Oh, Freudian slip, I didn't mean that. The punchline is not, he did a bad and was punished. The punchline is, oh, he could have had what he wanted all along.
Yeah,
and
if he just
didn't
would have
realize.
gone through it honestly.
Yep. Here's the other thing. Mineta never gets what he wants, but the audience does.
That's, yeah. Well, sometimes this, okay, so we were talking about this earlier. The shot in this episode is really bothersome. Yeah, we see the girls, like, we don't see full-on nudity, but with the friggin' slime girl, we get everything but a nipple, and that's really gross.
Yep.
Like, I'm gonna put it out there. I've talked about this in other anime, or shonen anime, and underage girls. I'm not gonna let the mangaka slip on this one. That shot is gross. Stop it.
And this is what I think Mineta is here for. He is a scapegoat. People hate him so much because they recognize themselves in him.
Oh no!
And they hate that part of themselves. It is a way to say,
They see themselves.
yep, here you go, audience. Here's them underage titties that you want. But also,
This creep Mineta wants them, so you
yeah,
can make fun of him for it.
fuck that guy. You are all Mineta. I am Mineta.
Oh no!
Scott, you're probably not Mineta. And that's probably why he doesn't bother you. Because you're not,
Because you don't see it.
because you don't have that prurient interest in seeing these underage girls, so you don't have that deep level revulsion to that part of you that just got its jollies off and feels shame about it.
Yeah, you know what? I can definitely say in episode 39, I wasn't totally ogling Todoroki in every scene he was in.
I'm saying in this episode, in this scene.
I know.
particular.
And I'm also saying in episode 39, they had a lot of shots of the boys, and I was a little bit over here like, oh wow, Todoroki, like, no, Ida. Ida's huge and jacked, and I'm like, oh man, you're how old?
So here I believe is the moral problem here. We are conflating the impulse with the act.
Okay.
Mineta has an impulse that is shared by a large portion of the audience. I want to see these underage girl titties. He
Just want that isolated.
Yep.
Anyway.
He acts on it. Acting on it is inappropriate. But you shouldn't feel shame for wanting to see them titties. Everyone wants to see them titties. It's fine.
Okay.
You should not cross that personal space boundary.
Don't pursue it.
Don't pursue them titties if them titties don't want you.
My only counter argument is I think the issue with Mineta is this is all he is. He is just this pervert character.
Yep.
Any other pervert character I can think of, Master
Yep.
Oshi, Kamina, like they all have something else that
Yep.
is redeeming about them. Master Roshi is a wise
Yep.
martial arts sensei. Kamina is like Mr. Badass cool guy.
But
That's what makes me feel that it is intentional on the creator's
Yes,
part.
yeah.
That if he had anything redeeming about him, he would be a less effective scapegoat for our externalized
Absolutely.
shame.
Not to mention, he wouldn't be a good satire on those characters to begin with. He would just be those characters again.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that there's nothing redeemable about Mineta, and that's the mangaka looking at the audience saying, by the
Yeah.
way, if you do this, this creepy little shithead is you.
what you're acting like.
Yeah. And also, while I agree, there's nothing wrong with wanting to look at them titties, those titties be 15. So there might be a little bit something wrong with wanting to look at them titties.
I do not believe that is the case.
Ah.
I think it is fine to want to. I think it's fine to want things, and I never blame people for wanting things.
Well, that's also a case.
Just don't do that shit. Don't actually do that shit. If you're in high school right now,
Don't
try
do
and,
that shit.
Yeah, don't try and peep on them titties. That's not okay.
And if
You can want it. That's fine. You're a high school age boy. That's more than fine. That is your right as a red-blooded American to want things you can't have.
And
Sorry
if
for
you're
our international audience.
and if you're not in high school, really extra don't look at them titties.
Yeah.
Like extra super duper do not look at them titties.
Yep. But don't feel shame for wanting things that you have been biologically programmed for millions of years to want. That's not in your control.
Also, I don't think those 15-year-old girls are drawn like 15-year-old girls.
Accurate.
Throwing that one out there.
Sometimes.
Some of them, yeah.
Yeah, like you. Oh God, Yoyorazu.
Yeah.
The girl who can recreate things. Yeah, nah,
She's not 15.
Yeah, nah, she looks like she's like 18, maybe going on 20.
Right, yeah.
And so when she has the outfit that accents her body, I'm like, that doesn't bother me, and why? But if that were Ochako with that kind of outfit on, I would be creeped out superbly.
Yes.
And you know that she rarely gets sexualized, if you'll notice. Like her outfit's a little tight and clingy, but it's also adorable. So it's like, man, I can't be upset. Ochaka's outfit is great.
Which one's that?
Gravity Girl, Uraraka. Gravity.
Oh, Gravity Girl. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Love interest girl.
Yeah,
got
love
it.
interest girl. Yes.
I cannot
While-
keep track of these names and will not try.
While the focal point of the love interest, not often sexualized.
Yep.
Man, okay, so
She's there to be adorable, not
Yes.
hot.
yeah. But yeah, so yeah, long diatribe about sexuality and stuff in anime.
Yeah, but let's get real. That's the thing that's here in this episode to talk about.
That's kind of the big
Little bit.
one of the big scenes.
Other stuff happens. That action scene is real good.
We're
Yeah.
introduced to the kid who doesn't like heroes.
Yep.
We knew somewhere in this world of man, everybody's either a hero or a villain or someone who loves heroes.
Yep.
We finally found the kid who's like, man, this whole hero thing, I hate it.
And I like his motivation for not liking heroes because it's understandable, and I almost agree with him. Because when it comes down to it, his parents were heroes before they had him. They knew what their career was like. They knew the danger that they were in. So when they had a child, they did that knowing full well that they could die in the line of duty, leaving this kid without parents.
So firefighters, soldiers, policemen should never have kids, is what you're saying.
Boom.
Well, hold on. Now, I said almost agreed with them because they're providing a service to society that ultimately that is wholly necessary, like firefighters, like soldiers. But explain that to a kid.
Yeah.
Explain that to a kid who just got orphaned because his parents took on a job that would put their lives in danger. Explain that to a kid. Like, explain to a kid why maybe the mom couldn't have just said, no, I'm going to stay home. Or why the dad
why
said,
the mom
Yeah.
stopped.
I literally was about to follow up with why, or the dad couldn't stay home. And, you
Says a
know,
lot about your character that you start with the.
I just spent 5 minutes talking. You know what? No, I'm not taking this. No.
Got you journalism right here.
But no, explain that to a kid, and hell, explain that to an adult. A lot of adults would be like, that was selfish of them to have a kid and still have that career. And there's an argument to be made about that. There's a salient argument about like, you know, you have to take care of the children you bring into this world, and that's a good point. There's conversations to be had about that, and it raises a great moral question. And so I love that this character is here.
Isn't that kind of the driving force of The Incredibles? Is like the parents being like, we can't do this. We have a family now.
Kind of, yeah. Although then they find out that their kids are also way into it, so then it becomes a whole family affair. But yeah, when it comes down to it, I like this driving force behind this character, and I like that it's an actual moral quandary because you can talk about, you can bring up firefighters and soldiers, and it's like, yeah, both parents have to do that. You could have a back and forth on that. And I'm not going to have that conversation here because that's a deeper conversation. The show is tackling that conversation.
Yeah, I think that might be a conversation that we have a couple of times going forward because this episode's a lot of table setting, and clearly this is not the last we'll be hearing of this character and his problem with heroes. And I see you reaching for your card. You want to hold one up?
No, I just
okay.
frequently always touch things. The problem I have is, and it's kind of unfortunate because I don't outright dislike this kid or like his logic. I just feel like I have seen this before in a lot of stuff.
In Naruto specifically.
Yeah.
Like Naruto, but like not even that. I just feel like everything has the kid who's like, but why did my family have to do the dangerous thing? And it's just like, I get it. It's a relatable quandary, but it's like, I've seen it so much. And I really hope that my hero either finds a way to make it feel unique or does something interesting with it. Because like, from the outset, I am already getting like oh man, I feel like they're setting up for an arc I've seen a ton of times.
Yeah.
And like, I have a crazy feeling that by the end of this kid will be like, maybe heroes are pretty cool after all. And like, you know what? That's fine. You gotta have like show that off. But I just really hope the journey there is an interesting one.
May I propose a journey to Antarctica, perhaps, would be the proper place for him to deal with. Just throwing it out there. I'm also going to throw this out there. This is a good episode. I like this episode. It's a lot of table setting, but it's good table setting. It keeps my attention. It is not entirely unproblematic, but I'm willing to go with it. Also, it's bright, it's colorful, and the action is real good. I like the show.
Yeah, this is what episode 39 should have been. This is a good episode. I want to get balls deep in this episode. Okay, so I don't know if I talked about this much in our previous video. I have read all of the manga after this. I know what happens. I have to keep my mouth shut. But this was a good episode, and it's got me excited for how they're going to handle the rest.
I also liked this episode. The one thing we didn't really touch on it, but another thing I really appreciated is this episode kind of ends, other than the stinger, with Eraser taking everybody out to the forest and be like, "Hey, throw this ball again. Let's see how much better you've gotten." And like Bakugo throws it and realizes he can only throw it like 3 meters further than he did before he started all of his training. And he's like, "Yeah, so everything we've been prepping for you has been based mostly mental and figuring out like what you should be doing in situations. Next up's the fun part where we're gonna make you get better at your quirk, and you're gonna wish you were dead." I'm pretty excited about what that entails for everyone.
Yeah.
Yep.
I found that so cool. The idea you all have improved dramatically, but your actual
There's
output,
also
your
still
power,
plenty of room.
yeah, and that's so cool because when Bakugo was about to throw that ball, I'm like, yeah, it's probably gonna be like crazy. Oh no, it didn't improve at all. And I'm like, yeah, I guess everything, all the battles they've been in, all the shit they've had to go through, wouldn't have actually improved their quirk ability. It would have just improved their combat skills. And that's that's interesting. I like that because I feel like any other anime would have been like, yeah, now you could do it for twice as long, or look how much you improved just by doing all of this other stuff. Nope.
Yep, they've been working on game sense. Now it's time to get into the mechanics.
Yes. But yeah, episode was good. Cool fight with the dirt monsters.
Yep.
Just fun interactions with characters and feeling like we are progressing towards something, unlike last episode, which just felt like a big old spinning wheel.
Yep.
Getting to see a little, like you said, even though it's just a bunch of vagaries, but still peeks into the villains and then being like, "Hey, I delivered the stuff. You ready for the move?" And just things feel like they are going somewhere, which I vastly appreciate.
Also, Deku gets punched in the scrotum,
Oh,
which
yeah.
is maybe one of the funniest scenes.
It's been a while. I don't know if I've ever seen a Crunchyroll sub that throws scrotum in there, but it was,
Right?
I appreciated it.
Well, guys, hold on to your scrotums, because we'll be back next week with more My Hero Academia. Thank you for joining us, Grant.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
And those of you on Twitch, stay tuned, because we're going to do a little swappy-doo. I'm going to fill up my water. We're going to read some bit drops, and then we're going to start the show proper, talking about what's going to be on the poll for the spring season. Aw, shit.
Have fun.